Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. So for today's video, I have something that is so useful this holiday season, whether you have a home business or you just like making DIY gifts. Today I'm going to show you how to take some Dollar Tree Christmas items and transform them where they will make you tons of money. These are best sellers on Etsy, Facebook, and I'm showing you some hacks as well. This video is sponsored by Cricut. A big thank you to them. And before we get into it, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button because once you hit subscribe, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
Go ahead and hit that notification bell. Make sure you set them to all. YouTube may or may not let you know when I post a video, but just in case they don't, follow me on Instagram and let's go ahead and get started. For the first one, I'm going to be using basically anything that looks like burlap from Dollar Tree. They have these really cool bags. These are tote bags. I wanted something with drawstring, but if you're very dedicated, you can actually create this into a drawstring because it has that nice gap. You can also use something like this, which is also a messenger bag, but I am using a Dollar Tree treat bag. They have these every holiday and every season. I don't have all of the Christmas stuff out, so I'm using a Valentine's one. I'm going to measure out my surface so that I know how big or how small to make my vinyl. And on Design Space, I am using this SVG. It comes in a bundle with other ones that are made for gift tags and bags. Now, I took everything that is red and I welded it together, and then everything that is black and welded it together. And I am going to attach them. Do not weld, because if you weld, it creates one color and then you don't get the red Santa and then black details and everything else. So just group them. By grouping them, you keep both of your colors and you're able to resize at the same time. To resize, it's really easy. Go up top and change your dimensions, or if you have something very specific, you can press that little unlock and type that in. When you make it, this is really important, don't forget to mirror. You mirror when you use iron-on, so no matter what you're using, whether it's a matte or smart vinyl, always click on mirror, and if you're doing multiple layers, do that for every single layer. Design Space will remind you, but sometimes when you're in the zone, it's very easy to forget and just cut. I'm using smart iron-on, but if you're using regular iron-on, it's the same thing. You're gonna do shiny side down, always, when it comes to iron-on vinyl. So make sure that you are putting your shiny side on the mat if you're using that. If you're using a roll holder, then make sure you do this, and then you can go ahead and send it to cut. If you're using a roll holder, make sure that you trim before you unload. I have both of my layers here and I am going to weed. To make this easier, which I didn't do here, you're going to want to put it on a mat. I completely forgot to because I didn't use a mat, but to avoid having to hold it down, always put it on a mat because it just makes your life a whole lot easier. So this looks time consuming, and it is if you've only ever made one. But if you're selling these, which personalized bags and tags sell like hotcakes, this becomes second nature. The only part that becomes a little tricky is the name, because every name is different. But if not, it'll be second nature. To ensure you're using the correct settings, go on to the Cricut Heat Guide. I'll link it below. It'll ask you what vinyl you're using and what surface, what material, and it'll give you a suggestion on what temp you should use and how long you should use it for. I've found that a lot of times the suggestion is a little bit conservative and I always end up heating a little bit more. But that's up to you. If you are going to be heating a little bit more, definitely make sure that your surface is fully covered like this is right here with the carrier sheet. But if it's not, then use some butcher paper so that you don't singe whatever it is you're using. Make sure that it is totally cool before peeling. And like I said, if there's any resistance, then just reheat until you get it right. Add your second layer using the same heat settings, and if you have another layer, just keep on layering. Add butcher paper if your carrier sheet doesn't cover the whole thing. Whether you're making these as a personal gift or you're selling them, I think these are so thoughtful and cute. Another idea is to use these chalkboard tags, which are in the Crafter Square section, and make personalized gift tags. They do sell SVGs, but these are just random fonts that I put together. I sliced 2 squares together to create the Naughty and Nice boxes, and then I used a picture of Santa, which was in Design Space, but you can use clip art. I used permanent vinyl for this, and of course you want to weld it before you cut it. Now I'm going to just place it on. You can seal with a little bit of Mod Podge if you'd like, but these are so cute, and if you are selling them, they will sell like hotcakes because whoever's buying them can use them every single year. By the way, Dollar Tree does have these tags in different shapes, and they even have one that looks like a traditional gift tag, but I couldn't find them. They do have heart-shaped ones, but I didn't think that was very Christmassy, so this is what I went with. If you take a stroll down the sock aisle in Dollar Tree, most of the time you're going to find a ton of shirts, and usually they have primary colors, which is perfect for Christmas. So what you're going to want to do is measure out where you want your design. For every single size, it's going to be a tad bit different, so make sure that you write this down if you're making multiple shirts, and then just go on Design Space and upload your design. You can of course create your own design using Inkscape, Procreate, but this one is just an SVG I got from the design bundles. I'll link it below. And then at the bottom, I just wrote Mommy. For Aria's, I wrote her name, and I'm probably gonna make a onesie as well. Check the material, and then go on the heat guide website so that you have an idea on what temp you're going to heat this at. To make this process go by a lot quicker, for every material, just go ahead and write it down so you don't have to constantly go on the website. Iron your shirt out before you add your vinyl, and if you don't have a shirt guide, you can just fold it in half and then iron it so that you know where the middle point is. You can always download a shirt guide and print it out using regular ink, or you can use something a little sturdier and use your Cricut. Totally up to you. It makes life easier when you're making a ton of shirts, but this is the route we went because I only realistically made this shirt. But for businesses, definitely have a shirt guide. Now I'm positioning my vinyl, and then I'm going to heat according to the heat guide. But again, this is a guide, and sometimes I do heat a little bit more. There's only a few materials that require you to peel while it's hot, and this definitely isn't one of them, so make sure it is completely cool before you start peeling. And like I said, if there is any type of resistance or you see that there is lifting, heat it up a little bit longer and then wait for it to cool. I did this for both, and honestly Aria's was a lot easier to peel, but at the end, look how cute this looks. I'm pretty sure you already knew that this elf would be in this video because this is definitely one of the top sellers at Dollar Tree. You're going to want to measure out wherever it is you are going to customize. Write this down, measure twice, whatever makes you happy. They do sell some SVGs of cute little add-ons like sunglasses or masks. I just did regular fonts, and I just got a snowflake from Cricut Design Space. I am using the font Love Spell, which is a Cricut font, but if you want something similar, I believe Yasi is very, very similar. Make sure, shiny face down, and you're gonna wanna mirror this, don't forget. So for this craft, I didn't use smart vinyl, I did it on the mat, and I'm gonna cut this down and then put it back on the mat so that it's easier for me to weed. This is what I was saying earlier. If you just did this on your hand, it's gonna curl up, it's gonna be a pain in the butt. So just put it back on the mat and it weeds like a dream. Make sure that you have our little elf friend on a surface that you will not get damaged. And for him, I will be using butcher paper because my carrier sheet is very small. I don't want to singe him, burn him, or anything. He's polyester, so I'm going to use the polyester settings and cover him up with my little butcher paper. Do the same thing to every single area that you're adding vinyl to. When you go to peel, make sure that it is completely cool. And for this, there will be a little resistance no matter how many times you heat it. And that's because it's that really fluffy material. But trust me, that vinyl is not going to go anywhere. This elf is such a hot seller because you can't really customize that elf on a shelf. But you can customize this, and this makes a wonderful keepsake for little kids, especially if you're adding the date. All right, Dollar Tree has 3 of these clear ornaments. You're gonna get the biggest one. Now we are gonna make that very popular Santa cam ornament, but we're gonna make it if you can't find that little lens. So I'm gonna grab the little squeezy things from the Crafter Square section and some polyacrylic. You can find this at any hardware store and you can get whatever finish. The finish does not matter. I like to put some tape just to create kind of like a little funnel. There's definitely an easier way to do this, but this is how I do it. And then I'm going to add it into my squeezy bottle. This makes it easy when you are making a ton of these. And at first, it's going to look like you're going to use a lot for one ornament. You are not, because you're gonna pour whatever's left over back in. I found this glitter at Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square section, and it's actually really fine, which is perfect for this craft. Usually Dollar Tree has chunky glitter, but this one's perfect. You're going to put your polyacrylic inside of that ornament and keep swirling around. If you feel like you're adding too much, don't worry, it's all gonna come out and you're gonna put it back in your little squeezy bottle. Let this drain on top of a cup and then shake it off. Put your cup to the side because you are gonna put that back in your squeezy bottle. And I'm gonna put my glitter into this little tray. I will link it below, but it has been a game changer for glitter because it has that little funnel so you can put it wherever you want, and then you can collect your glitter that is left over back in that tray and put it back into your package. This is going to feel like you're using a ton of glitter for one ornament, but trust me, you're not, because you are going to drain a lot of that out. To make this process go by a lot quicker, grab a paper towel or anything to cover the top of that ornament and shake it around. Close up your ornament by squeezing the top together and carefully putting it back in. And you can go ahead and start working on the ornament. You don't have to let it dry or anything like that. And look how cool this is. The glitter goes back into the package. I did spill glitter from when I was shaking stuff outside of the ornament, but still really cool. For the polyacrylic, I'm gonna put it back in the little squeezy bottle. Make sure you label that bottle. And we really didn't use that much for that one ornament. Now, because these lenses are super hard to find around the holidays, I am using a flashlight, which is why I am using the bigger ornament. This would not look good on the medium size or small. So I'm adding the lens back on with some hot glue. It's gonna look a little weird with just the lens. So I figured, We can take some construction paper and measure this out. We're gonna cut a circle with a smaller circle in the middle to make it look like a real lens. Normally, it would be really easy to just use that little lens, but they do fly off the shelf. So I wanted to give people the option. This also could sell for a little bit more because it is a lot bigger. Cut some notches around and then attach it with some Mod Podge. Don't add too much or it'll create a really weird texture. And then seal that with some Mod Podge. I'm attaching it with a small dab of hot glue, but you can use E6000 or whatever makes you happy. E6000 is probably going to be a little bit more durable, but you are going to have to put something on it to keep it in place. But you can do a mixture of both as well. This is what it looks like, and I think it looks so cool. I'm going to add a little bit of fluff on the side. This is just felt to make it look like Santa's little belt, but let's be honest, it ends up looking like a little Pokeball. But adding more detail or adding different details makes your listing stand out if what you are doing is selling these items. I used the font Love Spell. I do regret not curving it so that it went around the lens, but make sure that whatever you do, you're cutting notches into this. Whenever you're using a round or cylinder-like surface, notches will help everything go smoothly. I'm not going to show you B-roll because this isn't the craft. I mean, it is the craft, but it's not completely. I am using poster board from Dollar Tree because we are going to make a little case for this, like a little carrying thing. I found this wonderful woman on Etsy who makes these little templates, and I'm gonna rotate this. Go up top and just type in 90 degrees because you want this to be able to be as wide as possible. Now I am going to ungroup this because I wanna remove the score mark. She doesn't have plain ones, so I'm gonna remove those little details by adding circles to that. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate that so that they're all the same size. So I'm making four for all 4 circles. Put them off to the side because Design Space only lets you slice 2 items at a time. So I'm gonna find the circle that's on the actual template and the template itself. You can hold Command and select both and then hit slice. What that's going to do is that's gonna cut that little area into multiple layers, and you wanna delete all of those layers. You can do that manually, or you can hold Command on the side and pick all of those layers. You're gonna do that to all 4 circles. Once you have everything cut out, you're gonna wanna put those score lines back. This is just where you're gonna fold everything. When you place it back, if it disappears, just right click and click on move forward or move back, whatever the option is. Now you're gonna select on the side, press Command and select all of the sides that are not the brown area. So these are all the sides that you want to score or draw. These are parts that you're not cutting. So select whatever you want. The pen, all you need is a pen attachment. For the other ones, you are gonna need a special blade or attachment. I'm doing score, and for that, I'm gonna need a scoring wheel. So once you have that, select all of them and then group them. Grouping them allows you to resize all at the same time, which is what you want. The widest this will go is 11.5. And then you're just gonna measure out your ornament and figure out how long you want this. It's different for every ornament, and mine was a little bit too big, so you really have to play around with this. Grab your poster board of choice and add it onto one of the longer mats that Cricut offers, and then cut it down. One poster board, you're probably going to be able to get a large box and a small box. Maybe you can fit one on what's left at the bottom. I'm using a scoring wheel, but if you select the pen option, then you do not have to do this. Design Space is going to tell you exactly where to put your stuff, and my scoring wheel is going there. It's going to score first, And then it's going to tell me to add my regular blade. So this is just going to make little tiny indents so that I know where to fold. If you're using the pen, it's just going to add the lines so you know where to fold. You can use a ruler to make a nice straight line. If you're using one of the blades, you can make perforations. Totally up to you and what you have. I'm adding my regular blade back in, and now it is going to cut it out. Unfortunately, I cannot give you the exact dimensions of the box that I made because unfortunately when I cut it out, I never saved the project. So basically I had to do this all over again, and I'm not quite sure what the length was. But do know that it was 4 inches per every square, and I was just kind of pulling and pushing on design space. So now I'm going to remove this carefully. And once it's gone and out of there, I'm going to fold where the lines are and then start closing the box up with some tape. You can use double-sided tape, you can use hot glue, whatever you have. Once you have this together, you can put your ornament in. This is not a necessity. This is just a really nice bonus, by the way. Take off the sticker. I should have done that. You can tell right here that it was a little big because it's supposed to be snug on the sides. I should have cut the circle a tad bit bigger and made the box a little bit smaller. So I sealed it up and then added a bow. If you make your own bow, it'll be a lot cheaper. And look at how cute this is. So cute. So that's it for me. I really hope that this video was helpful to anybody trying to make a little extra money on the holidays. I hope that it was helpful to anyone who's having a hard time finding the usual items to make these things. And if you did enjoy it, make sure that you give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.